Do you have any experience launching a product on Amazon that doesn't exist, but could serve an existing market? I know you don't recommend that for new sellers. I've been selling for 10 years and I feel good about the product. I found about 10 keywords that come up in autofill on Amazon. I feel good about it, but I was curious about it. Look, if there's existing demand and you're meeting a demand need, if your price point is reasonably within other products that show up on those keywords, or those keywords are very specific to your product, but the need hasn't been met, then I'm okay moving forward with it. I mean, there was an example of a product that I found on TikTok that the guys were running ads for it on TikTok, and I was like, you know what? This is a cool product. And I went to Amazon and I found different ways people were searching for this thing. And there was 2 sellers, right? And I said, okay, well, I can do it better. So I found a factory, I designed it better, same way with exact same process. And that product, I launched it in maybe September or October. I made $100,000 in Q4 profit from that one product. So it is possible to do exactly what you're talking about, which is, go into a low competition niche that is quickly growing and be one of the first ones into the market. Now, the next year we did hundreds of thousands in profit throughout the year, but by the next Q4, there were already 30 other sellers, right? A little bit more competitive, price points have come down, margins came way down. And so we're still selling a little bit of them here and there, like maybe 10 units a day, 20 between all the variations, but it wasn't like it was 140 a day when we first launched it, right? So that happens, and there's cyclical, it's a cyclical nature. So if you think you can do it, I couldn't have patented it. It was already an existing, not a novel technology. My design was unique enough that I did copyright it, and I was able to sue a bunch of people who copied our design, or at least take them down. I was able to get a company that filed a bunch of, temporary restraining orders. So they're called TROs. So you file a better way to get, besides a patent, a design patent, which takes a long time, or a utility patent, you can copyright your design. And if people are copying any elements of your design, you can, in your copyright, you can have, I think, up to 10 or 12 images. You have to look it up. I think it's 10. You can have up to 10 images, which means like you can take every element of your main image and copyright it. And then you can copyright your whole main image and then sections of your main image and your overall design. And if anyone uses any of those elements, you can basically take them down in court. And if you do it with a temporary restraining order, like you actually file this thing and the judge grants it, Amazon will actually freeze their funds at Amazon, which means that now they're more likely to negotiate with you. But if you get a judgment against a company based in China, there's very little chance you're going to get any type of compensation. So you take them down, it's whack-a-mole, 4 more pop up. But if you take down a bunch and Amazon's freezing all their funds, all of a sudden you're going to be getting phone calls and emails with people willing to play ball. And you're like, give me 10 grand, give me 20 grand, hey, don't do that. They're willing to pay you that because they want to unfreeze their account. They have $100,000 sitting in Amazon stuck, right? So all of a sudden now they're playing ball. So that's another way to enforce some kind of protection. At what stage do you decide you can to can the product when it goes from 140? I think that it's still profitable enough. I wouldn't necessarily expand it. I look to disrupt it this year with like making it double-sided and adding a little bit more value. I improved my design a little bit, and we're still selling it. I mean, I'm still making my, close to $100 a day between all those sales. So it's worth it to continue to sell it. When my profit drops below like maybe $50 a day, I'll probably decide to get rid of it. Really, it's a matter of what the effort is versus the reward for us. The same amount of effort that we can use to try to disrupt that market again, knowing how saturated it is, versus entering a new niche that we can disrupt, like these kids' binoculars, for example. If I were to do these kids' binoculars, I would fully expect to have a fast-moving product with a much bigger demand base. So I would have 2,000 sales, a month. Again, competing as like the 5th bestseller in this niche, and I think I could do better than that, right? Honestly. So if that's the case, then I'm going to be in a position where I can I'd rather put that effort into that new product, right? There's a product I'm considering with 3 different color variations. Since I'm fairly new to importing, do you think it would be better to initially just import one color and see if everything works out, or import all 3? So this is where it comes down to, do you need all 3 to compete properly? Because if you only have one and everyone else has a bunch, your conversion rates are just going to be lower. And then that lower conversion rate will hurt your ability to rank. That's just the reality of it. Can you use those other colors to bring in traffic? Like, you bring in a green one, are there green keywords that people are using that you can run ads to with that green one in order to bolster the overall sales and conversion rate? Then you bring in all 3 colors. As long as you're confident in that initial offer and design and packaging, that you're doing everything we taught you in this workshop. If you're doing everything we taught you in the workshop, then be confident enough to bring in all 3. Then you really go in and dive into the PPC side of the education, where you learn how to run ads and target those variations the right way. Hey, Brandon, as a new joiner, I'm having difficulties choosing the items to dive with or without dive niche feature. Also, which keywords to include exactly in the MKL. Some keywords are semi-related, some very generic. So Mert, I would say that you want to only include enough sellers that that they're making sales, right? You can do a niche dive, but then go check those other subcategories and add any ASINs that were missed in the niche dive, right? Make sure you turn off and on sort by. We showed you how to sort by sale, sort by fit score, clean up anything. On the keywords, only include keywords that you feel like you can make sales from. And if you look at a keyword and only 1 or 2 sellers are ranked well for it, it's super generic, you probably shouldn't be using that keyword to evaluate the demand, because there's a reason only the top 1 or 2 sellers are ranked well for it. But if there are 4 or 5 sellers ranked well for it and you feel like it's pretty specific to your product included in the master keyword list, I would say like that's kind of what I'm thinking. Just how specific is it to your product? But you're not going to get on toys for 4-year-old girls, maybe ever, right? So you wouldn't include that in the master keyword list. It's too generic, and you can't expect to have that level of demand or success or exposure or traffic. So you would not include a keyword like that into the MKO for an evaluation and a purpose for demand, for budget, for velocity, for anything. Oh. Yeah, you're gonna have to do the dive. I didn't have to repeat everything. It was a lot. For a niche dive, just make sure you're including all the sellers that are relevant and that are similar to your product that you want to do and that are making sales. Don't include anyone that isn't. We really touched on that in the first one. Secondly, for keywords, only include keywords that are specific, right? Like that you can actually make sales from. So with the 1 of 2 sellers that are ranking on generic keywords, in one case I noted that this is because they're the only seller targeting that specific avatar. Would you include those generic keywords in the MKO then? No, I might include them at launch and try to get indexing for them and use a very small budget at launch for some PPC ads to establish that indexing. But I wouldn't try to rely on that as a predictor of sales or predictor of demand, right? I was diving for toy sets and the bundles each had a few different items in there. None of the sellers had the exact items. Yeah, that can be difficult. Like if you're selling a toolkit set in like toy hammer as a keyword, you're not gonna really have a lot of success. There's gonna be 1 or 2 of the tool kit sellers that are ranked on the first page of toy hammer, but for the most part, the toy hammer by itself is cheaper. It sometimes plays music, it's electric, and you just have like a regular toolkit set. You're gonna struggle to rank your toolkit set on the toy hammer keyword. So you can't rely on the toy hammer keyword as an indicator of risk, demand, velocity, exposure, or anything. I think I'm in a hard niche for the starter. Yeah, toys are hard. You have to be really good with keywords. Like we're in toys. look, margins are tighter, lots of keywords. SEO is harder. It's not a niche that is like necessarily for people who are not great at Amazon or are beginners. There are some niches within toys that you can find that are brand new toys with less keywords that are less competitive, right? So it really depends. You just got to pick your lane. So it's not necessarily specific to that.